Antetokounmpo takes it right down and drives into Love. And Giannis is hurt. And Giannis,
I think he's holding them back.
He is. His injuries this year have been mainly knee. Had a hand injury later in the season.
Well, we saw in that earlier game.
And he's trying to put pressure on his left leg.
Yeah, it looked like it happened before that play. Great presence of mind to tip the ball to the corner there, but you see him grabbing that left ankle. He's putting no pressure on that foot, so not a good sign here from Milwaukee and Damian Lillard, who has struggled with injuries, particularly as of late, having sat out the last 14 games.
To Green, Trent with it, and he loses it on a brilliant night. Gary Trent Jr. has it roll off of his fingertips. 5 seconds, 4 seconds, Halliburton for the lead. 1.3 to go. Now, here's Gary Trent Jr. Lets it fly. And the Pacers are moving on. What a comeback in overtime.
Giannis Antetokounmpo has given everything to the Milwaukee Bucks. A championship, loyalty, dominance. But now he's surrounded by injuries, blown leads, front office shakeups, and playoff heartbreak. And after the way this season ended, it's time to ask the question we've all been thinking. Is this the end of Giannis in Milwaukee? So what's up, YouTube? It's Armastradamus, and if you end up rocking with this video, do me a favor, like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. I make content on hoops and wrestling, so stick around. So let's break down how the Bucks ended up here and whether Giannis is really about to bounce. Giannis didn't just grow in Milwaukee. He transformed the franchise. Drafted 15th overall in the 2013 NBA draft, a raw skinny kid from Greece with no jumper, no muscle, just freakish potential. But Giannis worked. Year after year, he leveled up, and he became one of the most dominant forces the NBA has ever seen. He's a 2-time MVP, back-to-back by the way, Defensive Player of the Year, NBA champion, Finals MVP, 9-time All-Star, and has been selected to multiple All-NBA and All-Defensive teams. And in Game 6 of the 2021 NBA Finals, with the title on the line, he dropped 50 points, which is arguably one of the greatest final performances ever. This man put Milwaukee on the map. He stayed when everyone expected him to leave. He doubled down while other superstars were jumping ship. He won the title the right way. No super teams, no shortcuts. But now, just a few years later, the team around him is fading, and it's starting to feel like his time with the Bucks is quickly coming to an end. The unraveling didn't start this season, it's been building. In 2022, the Bucks got destroyed by the Boston Celtics in Game 7. No Chris Middleton, who was out due to an MCL sprain, but just a painful exit. Then came the rumors, Giannis to Golden State. Wild, but the fact it was even talked about was a red flag. Then in the first round of the 2023 playoffs, Milwaukee entered as the #1 seed facing the 8th seed in Miami Heat. In Game 1, Giannis suffers a lower back injury, missed some games, they lose in 5. The Miami Heat rode that momentum all the way to the finals, and playoff Jimmy was a demon. That loss cost Mike Budenholzer his job.
You're fired!
The Bucks replaced him with Adrian Griffin, a first-time head coach meant to bring new energy, but then came the trade that came out of nowhere. In the 2023 offseason, the Bucks traded away their best perimeter defender, Drew Holiday, in a 3-team deal that brought in All-Star Damian Lillard. A bold win-now move to give Giannis a true co-star. On paper, it was deadly. Dame and Giannis was supposed to dominate the East with a killer pick and roll, but things didn't go according to plan. Now, there was some internal struggles. Despite a 30-13 start, Adrian Griffin was fired mid-season.
You're fired!
Which was one of the quickest coaching hooks in recent memory. And who did they turn to? Mr. 3-1 lead blower himself, Doc Rivers. He stepped in, but the results was still shaky. Fast forward to the end of the 23-24 regular season, and Giannis suffers a calf injury right before the playoffs. He doesn't play, and Milwaukee gets bounced again in the first round by an underdog Indiana Pacers team that just so happened to be ranked second in offense. And that leads us straight into the 24-25 season, where things go from bad to rock bottom. Headed into the 24-25 season, the Milwaukee Bucks knew the pressure was mounting. They had a full year of Dame and Giannis, a veteran coach in Doc Rivers, and no more excuses. But once again, the basketball gods weren't on their side. Chris Middleton never quite got back to who he used to be. After battling knee issues the year before, he came into the 24-25 season trying to rehab an ankle injury. He tried to grind his way back to that all-star form, but it just wasn't there. The burst, the rhythm, the consistency, it was gone. So midway through the season, the Bucks made a move. They traded Middleton to the Washington Wizards in exchange for Kyle Kuzma, hoping to shake things up. But Kuzma, he didn't move the needle. Solid number. Come on, who am I kidding, man? We talking about a guy who shot 60% from the free throw line. But why did we think that he could take the pressure off of Giannis and Dame battling injuries of his own? Then came the gut punch. Late in the season, Damian Lillard was diagnosed with a blood clot, a serious, scary situation that sidelined him for a stretch. He made it back just in time for the playoffs, only to suffer a torn Achilles in Game 4 of the first round against the Indiana Pacers. His season was done, and Milwaukee was running out of lifelines. So once again, it all came down to Giannis. And in Game 5, with elimination staring him in the face, Giannis delivered one of the most ridiculous stat lines you'll ever see. 30 points, 20 rebounds, 12 assists, 2 steals, and 2 blocks. He gave it everything. And for most of that game, it looked like he pulled them out of the fire. The Bucks were up 7 with just 35 seconds left, but then it all fell apart. Missed free throws, sloppy turnovers, bad execution, and Tyrese Halliburton, calm, clutch, and ruthless, man. He took the game and the series right out of Milwaukee's hands. On the last play, he blew past Giannis to score a layup, putting them up by 1 and pretty much sealing the deal. The Bucks didn't just lose, they self-destructed, and they did it with Giannis playing like a superhero. That's the tipping point. Because if you got a guy putting up 30, 20, and 12 in an elimination game and your team still falls apart, that's not on your star. That's a failure in the system. And maybe the final warning sign that his time in Milwaukee is running out. And if that's the last time we see Giannis in a Bucks jersey, that man crashed out on everybody. He was in everybody's face. They was even saying, you know, it's this little thing that's going on in the internet right now about if 100 people could beat a gorilla. Nah, just Giannis alone can fight that gorilla and probably beat that gorilla based off the way he was crashing out on everybody after that game. So now we're here, and the question's no longer crazy. It's not emotional, it's real. What's next for Giannis, and what's next for the Milwaukee Bucks? Sure, he's still under contract, but in today's NBA, that just means he controls the timeline, not the team. And Giannis has already made it clear he wants to compete for championships, and he's not interested in just being loyal for loyalty's sakes. He said it himself, he'll stay only if the team is aligned and serious about winning. Let's be honest, this team doesn't even look like it's in the same book right now. They've cycled through 3 coaches in 2 years. They flipped the championship core for aging stars and shaky fits. But come on, let's keep it a stack. If you was in a position to do that Damian Lillard trade, you would do it, straight up. But they watched key players break down while role players failed to step up, and now Giannis is left to clean it up again. So if he walks into that front office this summer and says, I've done my part, now what's the plan? Can you blame him? Because if he hits the market, it's not just a trade, it's a league-altering moment. My Lakers will be there because we're always in every single rumor. The Knicks, absolutely. The Warriors have the pedigree. Miami is always lurking. And OKC has more assets than the rest of the league combined. This can shift the balance of power in the NBA. But the Bucks, they still have a window, a small one, to fix this. They can try to retool. They can invest in the youth. They can be aggressive in trades, smart in strategy, and show Giannis they're still serious about winning right now. But it's going to take more than just hope. This is it. No more leeway, no more we'll figure it out. It's do or die. Because if they drop the ball again, the greatest player in franchise history might just walk away. And that's all, y'all. Thank you guys for spending some time with me. And if you made it to the end of this video, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and let me know in the comments, is this really the end of Giannis's time in Milwaukee? And if so, where do you see him going next? Like I said, I also do wrestling content on the channel, so if you're into that, go check it out. I just went out to Vegas for WrestleMania weekend, so I vlogged that experience, so check that out. And if you haven't seen it yet, be sure to watch my recent basketball video where I talk about just some disrespected NBA players. And I also run a podcast with 3 of my homies where we chop it up about all things hoops. So until then, y'all be good.
What can I say? Mamba out.